The following video contains profanity and language that some viewers may find offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, sister girl on films, you don't want to miss a thing. Better stay tuned in.
Yeah.
So lay back, get into the vibe. In the
Biker gang rolled up on us. I rolled on you. I'm about to roll. What are these illusions? What are these deadly illusions? I saw enough to know I don't need to be a crackhead too. Cause that's some crackhead shit. No shade, but all the shade. Bitch, what?
Sister girl on films. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Sister Girl on Films. And as you can tell by the title, I am doing another episode of Child, What Is This? Which is essentially the bad movie review portion of my channel. And so before we get into Twisted House Sitter, or The Twisted House Sitter, I want to say I have finally hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo! So excited. Thank you to everybody that is subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it, guys. It's been a long, tedious journey. So thank you so much for all of you who have helped me reach this amazing milestone in my YouTube journey. So enough of all that, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this crazy ass movie. So let me read the synopsis for this movie for y'all, honey, because I tried to put it into my own words and there were no words. So when Alicia, a destitute young woman, crosses paths with Morgan, a beautiful, affluent entrepreneur, she realizes she'd rather live Morgan's luxurious life, so she takes it by any means necessary. So I agree with that synopsis. You know, that's what they tried to make this movie. So the movie opens up. We have our girl Morgan Mason, who is played by the beautiful Jennifer Freeman. If you're not familiar with Jennifer Freeman, she played Claire on My Wife and Kids, which was a long-running family sitcom on ABC. Hilarious. Starred Damon Wayans, Tisha Campbell Martin. It's the whole thing. So we have Morgan, and we see her at her job, and she is the boss bit. Okay, she is the HBIC. And she is so busy that she has neglected her moderately cute boyfriend, Xander. So Xander has had enough of her dismissing him and not making time for him. She doesn't even make time for their anniversary. So he breaks up with her at work. And so she seems to be distraught, but not as distraught as one would seem. But she is, in fact, distraught enough that she plans a solo spa vacation to help her get over her breakup with Xander. Now, mind you, Xander broke up with Morgan because she did not have time for him. But baby girl has time to go on a 10-day, I don't know how long, spa retreat to get her life together. Ma'am, had you made time for Xander in the first place, you wouldn't need this spa retreat. But this ain't what this is about, okay? So Morgan plans her spa retreat at this place that is really giving me Chilligan's Island vibes. And so on the day that her flight departs, she, mind you, hear me now, she, our business mogul, gets our fictitious Uber. Now, I'm gonna call it a Luber because it's not a Lyft, it's not an Uber. So we're gonna call it a Luber. So Morgan gets a Luber. Now, mind you, I'm not a millionaire mogul, okay? However, I would imagine that if I were, I would have my own personal car service, and I most assuredly would not be calling for my own Luber. My assistant would be doing that, but not in this fictitious world. Morgan does her own thing. Anyway, so Morgan gets ready to go downstairs to meet her Luber because she gets a notification that her executive car is on its way. And first and foremost, before I even move forward, can we talk about the fact that Morgan lives in this beautiful multi-million-dollar mansion estate, but any and everybody just comes on her property? I'm going to harp on that throughout this recap, okay? So just keep that in mind. Multi-million-dollar, I'm gonna insert it. I'm gonna insert the video somewhere, a clip. Multi-million-dollar, beautiful estate, but everybody and their mama can get on your property just freely. Okay. So Morgan goes downstairs and meets her Luber driver, and a red Chevy Malibu pulls up. Okay, no shade to the Chevy. I might or may not be a part of the Chevy family, but that is nobody's luxurious executive car. Okay, no shade, but let's be real. And so Morgan is thinking the same thing. She said, oh, honey, there must be a mistake because I asked for the executive car. And our girl, Alicia, who was played by Crystal Lee Naomi. Now, I don't watch Sisters because it's a Tyler Perry thing. And if you are not new to my channel, you know me and Tyler got beef. I have beef. He don't know me. But so I don't really watch Sisters. But she played Andy's philandering boyfriend's crazy wife. Okay, so that's who this girl is. So she pulls up as our Uber driver and she sees Morgan's face and Morgan is like, this is not what I was supposed to get. And Alicia's like, oh, it must have been a bug in the system. I don't know what happened, but I can still take you to the airport. And Morgan's like, well, I don't have time for anything less. She was like, well, let's go. Morgan realizes she forgets her, I think she got her phone or something in her purse. So she goes back in the house, gets what she needs. But this second time as she leaves, she forgets to set the security alarm. Child plot setup. And so while she is in the house, Alicia is looking at her estate very much in an envious way. So that kind of is supposed to let us as a viewer know that this bitch might be a little cray-cray. So Morgan gets in the car, they're on their way to the airport, and I guess Morgan did not select in her Uber specifications that she does not want anybody to talk to her. So Alicia is trying to shoot the shit, you know, talk to her, whatever. So Morgan gets a phone call from her assistant and she puts it on speakerphone and just tells all her business. I don't know why they do that in movies, but that shit is not realistic, okay? Even the most average everyday person has some sort of earbud, some sort of something so that you can't be all in their business, but not our multimillionaire Morgan. She's just selling all of her company business in front of Alicia, who she does not know. And so once she gets off the phone, Alicia has all the intel she needs, honey, to do whatever she needs to do. And so Morgan kind of nice nasty tells Alicia to stop talking to her because that ain't what this is for. Just give me where I need to go and poof, be gone. So once Morgan gets to the airport, Alicia looks in the back seat and sees, dun dun dun, Morgan forgot her house keys. So Alicia goes back to Morgan's house and is just able to go back onto her property all willy-nilly. And because Morgan forgot to set the alarm, Alicia's just able to go into Morgan's amazing, beautiful home, just with no cares, no worries in the world. And so as soon as she gets up in the house, she sees how beautiful it is. She's rummaging through all her stuff, and she just starts putting on my girl Morgan's clothes. Well, I will give her this. She did take a bath first because obviously we got a little setup in the beginning that showed that she was probably living in her car or something. So she did get a bath first. I will give her that. But then she goes and puts her body all up in through this woman's clothes that she don't even know. So in the next scene, Morgan is at the resort. And so while she's checking in, the guy lets her know that we need to take your phone. Like I'm sure you saw on the website that this is for complete relaxation that even includes your phone. Convenient, of course. So begrudgingly, Morgan gives him her phone, and so now Alicia just has free reign to do whatever the fuck she wants to until something happens and Morgan has to be reached. As you would imagine, Alicia is just having her way with all of Morgan's things and all up in her clothes and all up in her personal business. And so while she's doing all that, Morgan's housekeeper or groundskeeper or maid or whatever she is comes in and she's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And so Alicia's like, oh, I'm Morgan's friend Alicia. And Morgan asked me to house sit. And so the housemaid is looking like, you look real questionable, because she could probably tell that she has on Morgan's clothes and her dirty homeless girl clothes are on the floor. But the maid lets it go. She's like, okay, well, I'm about to clean it here, so you need to get out. And so she picks up her clothes and then she just throws away all her clothes. I'm like, Alicia, what is your plan here? Why are you throwing away all your clothes? You're gonna need those when Morgan gets back. No. Well, what was the plan, honey? Lord have mercy. So then we see that Alicia takes her car and she parks it on some random dead end and just leaves it there. She don't push it into the woods. She don't try to really cover it up. She just parks it at the end of a dead end street. Baby, the neighborhood that Morgan lives in, I can promise you, in real life, there's security. And they are driving around to make sure shit like this is not happening in their neighborhood. So I'm calling bullshit on that, but it is what it is. Plot armor. Okay, that's what's happening here, of course. Y'all. So when Alicia gets back to the house, she puts all of her vagina into one of Morgan's swimsuits. Now, this is not the first time we have seen anything so repulsive on child. What is this? Because if you remember Deadly Illusions, if you remember, I talked about a scene in Deadly Illusions where a girl put on another woman's bathing suit. What is wrong with these filmmakers? No, we don't do that. No. But they did it in this movie. I need people to stop. But she put her little JJ in Morgan's bathing suit, and so she's out by the pool. And so Morgan's maintenance man, he comes, and he's a longtime friend of Morgan's. And so he sees the lady, and I guess he startles her, and she knocks over her water or drink, whatever she had. Y'all. So instead of him just being like, oh, I'll get it for you, and her staying on the beach chair that she was on, he picks her up and puts her on the lounge chair right next to her, right, the one that's right next to her. Sir, what? It was so unnecessary, but it happened. I don't know if it was supposed to kind of build like sexual tension or something between them, but it was dumb as hell and very unnecessary and very unrealistic, like most of this movie. And so we get a little dialogue or whatever. We find out who he is, yada, yada, yada. Then after all of that tomfoolery, Alicia is back in the house. And so the maid pops up on her. She's like, so I'm about to leave. Do you want me to set the security alarm? And Alicia's like, the security alarm? Yes, bitch, the security alarm. You think this big ass house don't have security alarm? And so Alicia's like, no, it's fine. I'll do it. And then the maid was like, oh, okay, cute. Well, Morgan pays me at the end of the day, so I'm going to need my coin, baby girl. And Alicia's like, no problem. So it's usually cash, right? She's like, mm-hmm. Okay, good. I got you. So I'm thinking, where does this bitch get some money from? Child. She goes into Morgan's room and starts rummaging through drawers, and she finds like a stack of money. No, nobody does that. Unless you're like a 75-year-old grandmother that doesn't believe in banks, and then you have your money under the mattress. But somebody of Morgan's status, you mean to tell me she got random money just in her house so she can pay the pizza delivery boy with 50s? Okay. I guess we dumb and believe anything. So, Lord. So Alicia pays the maid or the housekeeper and sends her on her way, and then proceeds to throw the money on the bed and roll around in Morgan's bed. Again, Alicia, bitch, you're not staying there forever. You have not killed Morgan. Morgan is still alive. She's just in Chilligan's Island recuperating, getting over her heartbreak that she caused. So Alicia ends up getting a phone call from Charlie. I guess they exchanged numbers at some point. Missed that part. So she gets a phone call from Charlie that he left his tools in Morgan's office. So he wants her to go in there and check to see if they're still in there. So of course she traipses her little ass into Morgan's office. And instead of looking for the toolbox, she sees Morgan's laptop is chilling on the desk, which is fine. You know, it's Morgan's house. I'm sure she didn't expect some crazy ass squatter to be in her house while she's trying to get her zen on. But nonetheless, it's there. So her ass goes into her laptop but can't open it because it's secured by a password. And so she calls Charlie back and it's like, hey, I found that toolbox. So she invites Charlie over with the intent to try to seduce him. He doesn't fall for it. But she does ask him questions because apparently Charlie and Morgan have been friends for 20 years. And so I'm also like, okay, pause. Charlie, if you've been friends with Morgan for 20 years, and don't you know her friend Alicia that she is so close with that she allowed her to house sit while she's in Chilligan Falls? Explain it. They don't. We move on. So Charlie tells Alicia this very contrived story about him and Morgan when they were kids, and at the end he ends up disclosing the name of Morgan's childhood pet. Again, a plot device because it wasn't necessary. The story was not moving anywhere towards naming a pet, but they just had to make sure it was said so she had the information she needed. So Alicia puts the information into the laptop and boom, pow, pow, she has access to all things Morgan. So after Charlie gives Alicia the information she wants, he leaves, and then so she goes to try to see what she can dig up in Morgan's laptop. While she's rummaging through Morgan's laptop, our housekeeper pops back up. Now, mind you, she wasn't there when the conversation was happening with my guy Charlie, but she comes back and she catches Alicia in Morgan's laptop. So she calls her out about it, and so she leaves and she's like, I'm gonna call Morgan's assistant, or I'm gonna call Morgan. She was gonna call somebody, I don't remember. And so Alicia follows her out, and so they go outside, and so they start to tussle back and forth, because you know how the girls like to tussle. And so she snatches the phone out of the housekeeper's hand, and then she goes flying and hits the car, and then she dies. I don't know if she breaks her neck, if she hit her, I don't know, but miraculously she died. And so because it was an accident, Alicia feels bad about it, but not bad enough to call 911. And so Charlie starts heading back to the house, and y'all, this part pissed me off, okay, because they really are playing in our face in this movie. So Charlie is coming back to the house because he forgot his toolbox, of course, because he was being seduced and picked for information by Alicia that, you know, his boner made him forget his purpose of coming over there in the first place. So he comes back to get the toolbox, and so Alicia is standing there over our housekeeper's body. And then when Charlie pulls up, of course, the body is no longer on the ground. Okay. Now, keep in mind, y'all, Alicia is probably, she looks like the typical actress. So I'd say she's probably hanging around 5'3", 5'2", 5'3". She definitely is like maybe 120 pounds, maybe 125. She's petite, okay? Our housekeeper is probably maybe 5'4", 5'5". She's probably more in the range of maybe like a 140, 150. Definitely bigger than Alicia's petite ass. So they want us to believe that somehow Alicia was able to pick this body up, dead weight, mind you, and put her into the back of a car, all in the span of like a 30-second time frame. So when Charlie gets to where Alicia is standing, it looks like there's something wrong with the housekeeper's car. He's like, well, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna come back in the morning and check on it for you. And so as he leaves, he never sees the body, and then we get a slow pan to the body in the back seat. Okay, boom. So let's say that our girl Alicia is just an amazing, strong woman, and she just used her crazy strength, you know, that they have in the movies. You know, the psychos always are super strong and agile for whatever reason. Even if that is the case, the house is on this side. The road is on this side. Now, follow me, y'all. If she puts a body in the back seat on this side, she picks it up on this side, puts it in the car, which body part would be on this side? Yes, the feet. The feet would be, unless she's dragging the body into the car, at which point she would have to then try to maneuver over the body, which Charlie would have seen all that as he was pulling up. But no. The body is head first on this side with the feet on this side. That really pissed me off. Stop playing in our face. I know 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, but what the fuck is this? Because I know damn well her little bitty petite ass was not able to pick up this woman who was dead weight, put her in the car where her head is facing this way. How, Sway? How? She flung her in? Okay, I ain't gonna dwell on it. Let me move on. So in the next scene, Alicia is back on the laptop, you know, murderous blood and vibes all over her. She don't care. And so she finds that Morgan has a boyfriend named Xander. She sees some text messages. So she texts Xander and tells him to come over. So once Xander comes over, first of all, again, he just comes and knocks on the door. Oh, is there not a security gate? Is this not a secured property? Because how the hell is he just moseying on up onto the property? So he knocks on the door, and so Alicia goes to the door. She's like, oh, hey, you must be Xander. And he's like, hey, you know, is Morgan here? I got a message from her. She told me to come over. She's like, oh, no, she's not here. Just come on in, come on in. And so she tells him this story that Morgan is out of town with her new man, Frank. They went to Paris, and so he's all pissed off. But I'm like, pause. Writers, did Tyler Perry write this? Because it don't make no damn sense. If you opened the door and said, hey, you must be Xander, That kind of lets me know, oh, you were expecting this person. So now you're having a conversation with him that you're house sitting for Morgan, and you don't know why she told him to come over, because she's out of town. You would be surprised, like, oh, hey, hi, how are you? What's going on? Morgan's not here. I need people to read their writing. Think about it before you make a movie. Moving on. So, of course, Alicia gets Xander drunk, and then bang, bang, boom, she talks him into it, and so they end up having the sex. And while they're making out and he's doing what he do, she conveniently has the phone close by so she can take a picture of it for evidence later. Okay, so he disrespected the bed of his ex because he thought she was cheating on him, but we all know she wasn't. Anyway, so moving on, we get to our girl Morgan at the retreat, and so she's having a zen moment, and then she gets interrupted that there's an emergency phone call. So she knows it has to be really something important for them to be interrupting her, and so she finds out that her maid, there's a missing persons report that the family put out for the maid, and so she needs to hurry up and get home because the police want to search her property, since that was the last place that our housekeeper was. Fair enough. So as Morgan is on her way from the airport back to her house, child, Alicia got on the sexy ass dress. She got rose petals everywhere. She got candles lit. Honey, it looks like a whole ass seance. And so she's making dinner for Xander's bitch ass. Yes, I said it. Because how are you going to be up in your ex-girlfriend's house with her supposed friend for a romantic night so you can bang in her bed again? Trifling. So when Morgan gets to her house, she doesn't really notice anything out of the ordinary. I mean, there are lights on in her house. And you don't see your housekeeper's car, but there's lights on in your house. She don't suspect nothing. Okay.
You don't find that suspicious?
So when she get in the house, she opens up the door, and Alicia's walking towards the door because she thinks it's Xander, because motherfuckers just walk in this house just willy-nilly, okay? And then she sees that it's Morgan, so she starts hiding around the house. So the fire alarm goes off because whatever Alicia is cooking is burning. So Morgan goes into the kitchen, and then here comes Xander ass just walking in, again, willy-nilly. And he's looking stupid because he got roses that they're supposed to be for Alicia, but he sees Morgan. So Morgan, of course, is like excited to see him because obviously she wasn't cheating on him. She went with another man. And so his dumb ass is confused. So now this gives Alicia time to leave the house, okay? So now this part was kind of funny because Morgan finally makes it to her bedroom, and she's like, Xander, who been in my house?
Xander? Who the hell has been in my house?
Baby, Alicia had Morgan's clothes everywhere. It was trash. Then we get a shot of Alicia in the front yard holding Morgan's laptop, and then she runs to her car that's still there because there's no security in this plush ass neighborhood, no ticket on it, no nothing, and she's able to leave the property unseen, unheard. So once Xander tells Morgan what happened, you know, that I don't know, they kind of panned away, but we can assume that he told her that a girl named Alicia was in the house. And so they call the police, they find out who the girl was. She's an Uber driver, all the things. She doesn't have a record or anything. And so then they see that this is when shit goes left, okay? I mean, it's already been left. It's already been left, but it really goes left. So they pull up Alicia's social media. Now, I didn't mention this, but in the beginning, she said she don't do social media. She doesn't have a social media. That's why she didn't know who Morgan was. They pull up her social media, and in the span of maybe a week, this hoe got 4 million followers on this universe's Instagram. 4 million followers in a week because she was squatting in somebody's house. Cut it out. Y'all are stupid. So she has 4 million followers. She's getting internet famous because she's just like well-known squatter of this famous person. Stupid reason, but it's social media. I'm not surprised. And so the rest of the movie, they're trying to find Alicia, and they can't find her. And she's like high-key stalking Morgan. So she's everywhere that she is, and she's trying to blackmail her and all this other stuff. So boom, boom, boom. We're just going to get right to the finale, y'all, because I'm tired of talking about this boring-ass movie. It felt like it was 5 hours long because it was so stupid and so boring, and wasn't nothing really happening because there was no point. Anyway. I'm gonna get to it at the end. So we're just gonna bypass all this bullshit. Of course, Xander gets back with Morgan because, you know, he finds out the truth and she don't know that he banged Alicia in her bed. So we get to our climax of the movie. And so, mind you, this whole time, Morgan's estate only had like a little sad-ass little security panel. She didn't have no camera. So you mean to tell me Ring doorbell technology and security systems are not available for somebody who makes millions of dollars? Oh, okay. Stupid. So Charlie installs all these cameras that should have been there in the first damn place. So Morgan feels pretty safe. So in the climax of the film, Morgan gets home and there's a bunch of paparazzi outside her gate. I'm going to say that one more time. Paparazzi are outside her gate. Y'all, how did Alicia get behind the gate in the first damn place? Because I'm not mistaken, usually to get into gated communities, either you need to have a code, there's a security guard there who knows who you are, they let you in, or you have like a little sensor that you have to push that you can keep in your car so you can get in. How did she get into the damn gated community in the first place? Okay. This movie annoyed me. Anyway, so Morgan gets to her house, and so Charlie is kind of watching the security footage to make sure she gets there safely, because, you know, she lets him know that she wants him to come over because she's not feeling too safe and she can't get a hold of Xander for whatever reason. So he's watching her on the security camera to make sure she gets in the home safe, and as he's looking, she gets out the car and he's smiling because she's safe, but then he notices the little back hatch of the SUV pops up. So he's freaking out. So he heads over to Morgan's place. Charlie finally gets to Morgan's house, and Alicia, of course, rolls up on him with a fake ass looking knife, and she's able to manhandle him. What? She's little as hell. Okay. So Morgan is trying to call Charlie, and she hears his phone ringing, but she's like, Charlie? So she finally finds him in her basement studio, and he's tied up to a chair and his face is all bloody and red. I'm like, who the fuck did that? Surely not 5'2", 5'3" Alicia and this big ass man. Ain't no way. But it's a way because she did. So as she's down there and she sees Charlie, Alicia comes out the woodworks and starts giving her villain monologue. And then while that happens, here comes Xander. Where you come from? How you know they in the damn basement? I guess Alicia contacted, I don't even know, y'all. This movie is just doing whatever. And so he comes down, and Alicia's like, you know, I'm so glad that you're here. And Morgan is like, how did you know we were down here? You've been talking to her? And Alicia's like, you know, yeah, we've been doing more than talking. Tell her, Xander. And he really didn't say nothing. So then she sends Morgan the pictures, not a video, but the picture of her and Xander in Morgan's bed. And Morgan's like, is that my bed? And so at this point, you would think Morgan would go into a rage and start knocking bitches out. No, not at all. So Xander is like, you know, I don't know why you're doing this, Alicia, blah, blah, blah. I did everything you asked me to do, so you will leave us alone. Will you just leave us alone? And then he tries to like mind F Alicia and tell her that he really likes her, and if she just puts the knife down, her and him can just leave together, blah, blah, blah. And so she believes it. Okay. She believes it, and so he hugs her, which gives Morgan the upper hand. So she knocks the knife out of Alicia's hand, which doesn't do anything because she doesn't retrieve the fucking knife. She just leaves it on the floor. What are we doing right now? And so Alicia gets pissed off, and then she picks up like a crate and she starts to beat Xander in the head with it, and I guess he dies. I mean, okay, movie is gonna movie. And then so we have the climactic chase scene, of course, between Alicia and Morgan all through the house. which is very lackluster. There was zero fight choreography at all in this movie. It was terrible. And then so they make it back down to the basement after they played Ring Around the Rosie, I guess. They make it back down to the basement. And so, I'm going to insert this scene. So Alicia was chasing after Morgan, but somehow was evaded by Morgan. So she couldn't see her in the basement hiding behind Charlie sitting on the chair. Okay. And then, and then somehow Morgan was able to get back behind Alicia, pick up a tripod and beat her with it and knocked her out. And she freed Charlie and they escaped to the police. So I ask you, what was Charlie's point? Because you came to the house, you got hemmed up by a little petite woman, then she locked you up in the damn basement, tied your arms up, then you got untied, you didn't help nobody, you didn't do nothing, you ain't did nothing this whole movie. Why was Charlie here? I'll tell you why he was here. I'll tell you. Because he needed to be the final love interest. Because apparently either Xander died or she broke up with Xander because he screwed in her bed. I don't know, but we never see or hear from Xander again. Okay? And so at the end, Morgan and Charlie are a couple. And we see that Alicia is in prison, but she has the fame and the love of fans that she wanted in the first place. End of the movie. Y'all, this was the dumbest mother I ever seen in my life. This was a Tubi original. I don't know if they're trying to compete with Netflix to have the worst original films, but they're winning at this point. This movie was so damn dumb. It felt like it was just going on and on and on. There was no tension. It made no sense. The fact that Alicia wanted Morgan's life, I get it just because she was jealous. But she didn't even know who Morgan was. She just knew she was some random girl, random woman that had money. Now, usually in these type of movies where somebody tries to take over somebody's life, it's usually because they've kind of built a connection. They kind of snuck their way in. They admired them. They were a fanatic or something. This is just a random broad who had no plan. Because once Morgan got home, bitch, what was you going to do? You felt bad when you accidentally killed the maid. You wasn't gonna kill Morgan. You didn't really kill nobody, except maybe Xander. And I don't even know if he died, because we never really saw his body. Or maybe they took his body out in the stretcher. I don't remember. Hell, I was rolling my eyes so much, I probably blinked and missed it. But either way, I don't think he died. This movie was so bad, y'all. But it's the end of my review, my recap. I don't have nothing else to say about this terrible ass movie. The writing was bad. The script was bad. Who wrote this damn movie? Because they think they ass whooped. So if you have Tubi, don't waste your time watching this. I watched it for you. There were a couple of things I left out I wanted to mention, but it was so dumb in the movie that it didn't make sense coming out of my mouth that I didn't even include it. But that is all that I have for this episode of Chow. What is this? And as always, y'all, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'm gonna see y'all next time for something else. Thank y'all so much for y'all support, and again, thank y'all so much for 1,000 subscribers, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.
Hey, look, I talk my shit and keep it honest, keep it independent. I hear them hating, but that's only cause they inconsistent. He said the weapon wouldn't prosper, now they wouldn't form. I'm about to golf, I hit the